How's it going? Piper Doug. Now, this video is tailored towards people with a certain type of problem. This guy. No, yeah, not that. These were notorious for bad paint on the cabs. The Super Q, but on the 30 series, for whatever reason, they had really bad paint. So, I'm pointing at the sun. This is 1991 8730 power shift Super Q, and it is the two-wheel drive version. It's actually only back-wheel drive at the moment, and that is part of the issue. Now, I'm pretty sure this big girl has never had her front steering pivots taken apart, because they were bad. I bought this tractor a few years ago. Got a really good deal on it, considering it's a big tractor. It's 160 something horsepower, somewhere about there. It's two-wheel drive, which is what people didn't want it for. Everybody wants front-wheel assist, but for what we use it for the mixer wagon. And it does baling, and it runs a shuttle car to harvest. It's perfect. It's just a good big old tractor. I love the Super Qs. Classic. Now, the steering was getting to be a bit of an issue. It was hard on the pump, and we went to bring it into the shop to get it ready for silage feeding time, and the steering would not work. And so we managed to get one side freed up, so we jacked it up. We put some splices in there to hold one side up in the air. This side was locked up. So we turned it into a three-wheel tractor to get into the shop here. So yeah, you have to disconnect the steering rod. There's another rod that goes back through here, which is sitting right here. It sits along the back here, which, get this guy out, joins on from there through the back. This joins on the top up here. And that was the beginning issue, because this is a cone fit, which means this hole's smaller than this hole. And as you can see, it's tapered. So yeah, it has to fit onto there, and then this whole pipe goes up inside there, just like this side. So it would look like this. There. I didn't think this one was going to be an issue. I thought this was the bad one. Now, I've worked on this for a couple of days, beating and pounding on this, and I'll show you how we ended up getting it freed up. But we had the big Tiger torch with the heat nozzle to get this glowing, because you got to heat this ring up to make this expand, but not heat that part. You got to keep that cold and make this hot. And then what you do is you go around here and you pound the piss out of this with a big hammer, and you shock it. Just shock it. And handy tip, that's how you get the ball joints, the control arms, the steering rods, whatever you want to call them. That's how you get them off. That's how you get these guys off without destroying them. How you'd probably save the boots that go on top of them without getting buggered, because if anybody has those ball joint rods, it sort of goes like this and split. Anyway, so it's the same thing. All you do is you force down on the ball joint rod, and then you hit around the outside of here, and the shock, it'll just let go. It works every time. It really does. This one was a little bit different, because this side has two arms, because it has the rod linkage that goes to the side, but then it has the actual ram that does the steering. So, same thing, I put a bar in there, pried down on the end, not on the chrome, but on the end here. Put all my, well, I put a lot of weight on it, not all of it, because, yeah. And then, bang, bang, bangity, bang, bang, let go, good to go. So I'm now currently at the same stage on this side as I was on the other side. So this is what we do. You force this up. Well, you got to take all the broken bearings out of the bottom cup that's in there. Well, what's left of them, because they're gone. This is what's left of them. This is all these little pieces. Yeah, they're not even round anymore. So then what you do is you push up on this side, and then you drive a pin in this side, which is forcing both sides up. Then what you do is you heat this ring up. I don't have oxyacetylene. I'm planning on getting that at some point. So basically what I have is I have small tiger torch and the big one, and you heat this ring up, and while pushing, pumping and beating around here, this will eventually let go. And it won't just let go, it literally explodes. When I did the other side, this bullnose straight up. Yeah, everyone says a mark there. So yeah, if you'd been leaning over that, that would have stabbed you right in the soul. So I'll bring you back when we've got this side off, and then we'll get into the breakdown, because I've ordered the parts. It's pretty much a kit. So this should be good. I've got to clean this up. Clean up the bottom, because that's where the bearing, it's a thrust bearing that sits on the bottom here, because all the weight is vertical. It's not tapered bearings or anything, it's all vertical weight. So you have a bushing here. I don't know if it's brass or not. It might be a sort of mild steel, I'm not sure, but this isn't bad. It's got a slight pinch there. And then down there's another one. But there's another part to the bearing sitting just in here, and I'm having a hard time getting that out. Now, originally when we got this tractor, it had a whole gamut of belly weights right in here. You pull this part off, and the weights all slide in there. And there was, what was it, 45 kg. So she was carrying a lot of extra weight up front. I don't know if I'm putting them back on or not, but that's probably what led to a lot of this trouble. And I did grease this, just so everybody does know there was grease in this. But this is sort of an old design. There should be a cork gasket that's in here that's supposed to seal this from the crud getting in there, but crud gets in there. So anyway, I'll bring you back when I get further along. And there we have her. A little bit of heat. Wedging, tapping, banging, shouting. No bleeding, that's a first for me. She's off, still in good shape. Now this thing, you sort of have to play the wiggle game. You wiggle, 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 wiggle. Stuff starts falling out. See, there you go. That's what's left of a thrust bearing. There's all manners of sharp bits of metal. There's what's left of a ball bearing, which has been ground into a little piece of crap. But yeah, there's part of the basket. And there's a race. And then there's just a flat plate that goes here, but I think it's gone now. But this step is because it's warm from here. So, and drag this sorry state out and clean it up, and then see where we stand. Hey, so this is the stage we're at. Okay, so what I did, yeah, me, myself, and I. So what I did was I took this out, like there's 2 bolts, slide this out, turned it upside down, and then used a bar to knock this bushing out of here. It's not badly worn, but I'm figuring I'm at this stage. I change it out. You can see it's sort of thicker on this side than this side. So there's one in there, and there's one in the bottom. So I had it turned the other way up to force this one out that way, because it's easier to hammer downwards than upwards. Scientific fact, you heard it here first. So, great big tiger torch. So I'm currently still driving this one out, and there's one of these, and plus there's what's left of the thrust bearing in the bottom there. But this is what I'm using. It's an old bucket tooth. So, and these are hardened steel, so it gets onto the edge on the bushing, and then pounding the absolute holy hell out of that end with the attitude adjuster. So this side is done, but as you can see, what was left of the thrust bearing is just shattered as this came down through it, and that's what's left of the bearing basket. Now this is what a flat thrust bearing looks like. It's kind of the same as a clutch thrust bearing. See, they're big flat rollers, but that's because this is completely flat load, like vertical flat load. And because, I'll get this right, this guy goes down to here, and then the whole weight of the front end of the tractor sits on this part here, but there is washers and stuff. But yeah, they already sent me the wrong bushing, so I'm waiting for the new ones to come. So this one's done. We'll just have to clean it up, change the grease nipple because that one was red hot. So I'm going to fire this bad boy back up again, get some more heat onto that, because you've got to get it almost cherry so that it's expanded, so you can dry this stuff out of the bottom, and I'll bring you back. Job's a good one.